What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense. And y'all, I got an exclusive. Wendy's husband actually gave his first statement.
This ain't stealing.
Like the video as the intro plays, we got a lot to get into, and the Don Julio is flowing.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense to me intellectually.
Big Mims. Surfer. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
You give people a chance, and this is what they do. Are you kidding me? Are you serious?
So, y'all, I literally, when I first saw this, I was like, I'm holding back judgment because I like Wendy, and she could not be this dumb. Your husband is an attorney. You cannot be this dumb. So we're going to get into everything, but let me just say this from the very beginning. Before we read this indictment, just know that there is a crime of moral turpitude is a base, vile, or depraved act that goes against accepted moral rules and duties owed to society or fellow people, often involving fraud, deceit, or significant harm. Examples include murder, R-word, arson, fraud, and theft. Such a classification carries serious consequences, particularly for non-citizens, potentially leading to denial of immigration benefits, removal from the U.S., and impact on professional licensing and credibility, you guys. Eddie's an attorney. When we get into this and you see what they're up against, you tell me, is his license in jeopardy? I'll show you guys. Crime of moral turpitude. Shout out to Simone from Girl Is That Legal. As soon as this dropped, I called her and I was like, is his license in danger? And she said, absolutely. If he's found guilty of these charges, you know, Wendy then already quit her job. He is alleging that Happy Eddie makes so much money, but I'm hearing they're in debt. It's just a lot. So before we get into it, you know, we like to talk about, we do a little something messy first before we get into the actual topics. This took me out.
Thermos into the jail. That's right. He put it up the exit ramp. You know what I mean? Now listen, there's things you can't make up. So we arrested Walter Frymere. He's 51. We got a call that he was naked in the jail.
I want to stop it here. This man stuck a canteen up his butt in order to be able to sell it in jail. A canteen. I don't even think Diddy could do that. Maybe Bobby Valentino can. I don't know. Let me stop. Okay, we'll get into that in a minute. Okay, so let's start here. Shout out to Gabor who sent me this. It says, on Thursday, October 9, 2025, the defendant was indicted by the grand jury for Carroll County on 7 counts of insurance fraud, 8 counts of conspiracy insurance fraud, and 1 count of false statement to a police officer. The allegations in this case are on April 7, 2024. Deputies responded to blah, 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 their address, Maryland, for a call of reported burglary. A deputy was met by the homeowners, Edward and Wendy Osefo, who reported to him that they had left to go on a trip to Jamaica on April 2nd, 2024, And when they returned on April 2nd, 2024, at approximately 10 p.m., they found their bedroom and both clothes to be ransacked, and several designer handbags and jewelry had been stolen. I remember, I think I was still kind of sort of reviewing. No, I wasn't. I definitely would just, tap on certain stories, and I was like, well, this sounds stupid. Why does she have so many Birkin bags? But I remember this vividly. And she wasn't the only housewife who had been robbed, so they need to be checking all them bras out. The state's evidence would show the purported point of entry into the home to be the homeowner's bathroom window on the second floor. The window looks onto a small roof that was about 9 feet above the deck. There were no ladders, and the deck furniture was undisturbed, and no indication anyone had been on the deck. The Osefos stated that they did not touch anything prior to the police arrival. There was a screen with damage laying on the roof, and the window was not locked. To go in or out of that window, one has to step on the toilet. The toilet lid was down, and no debris were on it. Y'all, they didn't... Oh, Jesus. They didn't even think that it was important enough to make it look like a crime. Not even a little dirt. When sheriff's office personnel stepped onto the roof and back into the home, they tracked roof grit back inside. The Osefos had an ADT system and a ring camera. The Osefos activated the ADT alarm system upon leaving for vacation during the time that they were aware, with no motions detected inside the residence. There was activity such as package deliveries on the ring camera that was monitored remotely by the Osefos. Let me see if I can make this. I don't think I can make it bigger. Damn it. Investigation terminated on April 8, 2024. The Osefos initiated 3 separate insurance claims for the burglary and theft: Travelers Insurance, Jewelers Mutual Insurance, and Homesite Insurance Company for the alleged losses suffered while they were away. Edward Osefo gave recorded statements to 2 of the insurance companies regarding a list of stolen items that were provided. He was asked whether any of the items on the list had been returned, which he denied. He was asked if he had other insurances, but failed to disclose to Homesite and Jewelers that he was also making a claim with Travelers Insurance. You are an attorney. You are now the worst attorney. We need to check his record up against Phaedra. For Homesite, both Edward and Wendy Osefo signed a sworn statement of loss, which was notarized. The total amount of the loss claimed on the sworn statement loss was $2,500 for the building and $450 estimated for contents personal property. He included an inventory of reported stolen items along with receipts of the purchase of most of them on the inventory. That claim was denied due to failure to disclose the policy with Travelers Insurance. How hard up for you for cash? How hard up are you for cash? I'm not. In the original claim submitted on April 8, 2024 to Travelers, Edward confirmed that he and his wife were wearing their anniversary bands when the loss occurred. However, Edward called Travelers Insurance on April 20, 2024 and said he needed to update their claim, stating his wife's gold diamond jewelry anniversary band was missing. That same day, Travelers Insurance settled the claim for $25,000, which included the replacement of the band for $4,500. Now, I should have known, because Wendy definitely came on looking like this. The wigs were on Karen level. Anybody on Karen's level who have the same type of Karen glow up, you need to look out for them. Because this is who you were. And this is who the show made you. Who you were, what the show made you. We should have known. Y'all like my shirt? I wore it just for Wendy and Eddie. It seemed appropriate. one more thing we should have known based on the fact that your mama came on the show. Your mom came on the show, African woman, and she did not leave on the show. She came on the show. Chameleons, thieves, frauds. Let me take this off. That ain't how she showed up. I'm absolutely sure her little grandchildren were confused. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. Sorry. Let's go back. After the initial report claim on April 11th, both Wendy and Edward signed and submitted letters to Jewelers Mutual Insurance claiming the burglary occurred and the items were reported stolen. At the request of Jewelers Mutual Insurance, the O'Seffels provided an initial list of 57 stolen items. Including on the list was Wendy's gold diamond anniversary band that was reported in the traveler's insurance claim. On April 22nd, 2024, Edward was interviewed during a recorded call and did not make any mention of the jewelry claim or payout with travelers. Deputies were suspicious of the circumstances of the burglary and from records where the items were purchased, along with social media and email accounts. Investigation determined that numerous items that the O'Seffels claimed were stolen have been purchased, then returned to the store where a full refund was provided prior to the alleged burglary. So you just copied receipts. Like, this is small time shit. This is the type of stuff that people do when they're trying to rob the airport. A general scam is to say that you lost your stuff and you have multiple receipts of shit that you never owned, and then you turn that in. Just know, fraud, the money has to come from somewhere. And everybody that's committing fraud, the politicians, all these people, we end up paying more money. The thieves, the fraudsters, it makes regular people pay more money. Let's go to her page again real quick. We all know that Wendy had a glow up. I want to show you she got a really expensive brand new Range Rover. She started wearing Birkins. It's par for the course with the show, but not really Potomac. You see her Range Rover in the back? You quit your job. Your mama was praying the Holy Ghost fire over it. What are you doing? I think that Wendy came on wanting to be, quote unquote, that girl. If you look at Karen came on the show a mess. We all know this. Most of them, none of them really had money. They just were bougie and pretended. There's no reason that Wendy had to go this far. There's no reason that she had to quit. There's no reason that Eddie, who still has an active law license, nobody technically knows what he's doing in a case that he's taken. I wanted to show you all the Range Rover. See, Giselle was smart. Giselle, she didn't spend her money on clothes, beauty, a house. She literally saved her money. So now, 8-9 years later, she's driving a G-Wagon and living in a $900,000 teardown that she probably already owns. She doesn't care. That's how Wendy should have. Potomac doesn't care. You can be broke and be on Potomac and excel. Karen, people think she has a glow up. Karen is literally renting her home for like $10,000 a month. Ray been ready to retire. Karen may look great, but we all know that there's a few issues there, and the money is funny. Don't look to Karen as the type of glow up that you want because it's just external. They don't own nothing. They should be resting on their laurels with the money that she's making, since he couldn't even afford to pay his taxes and going into retirement. Not Karen. Karen is spending $10,000 a month on rent alone. to keep up an appearance and to live in the slums of Potomac. It's a damn shame. The items were valued in excess of $20,000. For example, there was a Dior shirt that was listed as stolen, valued at $1,400, but the shirt was returned on January 14, 2023 for a refund, and a Gucci leather wallet that was purchased in 2018 and returned 2 weeks later for a refund of $948.70. Additionally, while reviewing the social media Instagram account for Wendy Osefo, deputies observed photos of Wendy prior to the burglary wearing a diamond anniversary band on her left finger. The ring was reported stolen in the burglary. Then after the reported burglary on April 27th, Wendy Osefo is wearing the same ring on her left finger. The ring features multiple rows of diamonds and has a V shape of the side that separates where the rows of diamonds begin. The ring had been photographed prior to the burglary for an appraisal and matches the photo of the ring on April 27th. Now, here's the thing. Wendy might argue for stuff like that was just an old picture that she just posted on April 27th. A lot of people do photo shoots, photo ops, and stuff like that, and then they post later just so that they can always post and stay in the algorithm. But this is where it gets sloppy. Deputies obtained email records for Osefo on April 12, 2024. Edward emailed the list of reportedly stolen items to Wendy. The email asked if there were additional high-value items we can add to the inventory listing, Chanel shoes, etc. I'm trying to get the total to exceed 423, which is our policy maximum.
Report this morning on the radio. Who was this wonderful?
I'm going to say it forthright. How dreadful. Shout out to Gabor.
You in the hood now, baby.
The ghetto. The ghetto. The ghetto.
Why? Why are you emailing? Why are you emailing your wife saying that you're just looking for anything to increase the amount so you can max this out? How hard up for money are you? How hard up for money are you? Wendy has to be making at least $300,000, $400,000, maybe even $500,000 a season now. Maybe don't quit your job. Y'all are closer to your third quarter of life than your first quarter. There's no reason for this. Y'all are closing in on the third quarter of life and trying to live like city girls. That's crazy. Oh, sorry, you want to read this? Let me see. Let me take this off. Both. You know Potomac is broke. Let me see. Deputies obtained email records for those Osefos on April 12th. Well, we did that one. At the time of their arrest, a search and seizure warrant was executed for those Osefos' home, and deputies found at least 15 items that appear to be the same ones claimed stolen during the alleged burglary. Investigation revealed that Osefos to be burdened by substantial debt. So you broke. Buying new Range Rovers, walking around with Birkins. Edward and Wendy conspired to make fraudulent statements and provided misleading information in support of making the insurance claims for financial gains. This is so damn sad. You definitely broke because all the other ones are stealing real money, millions of dollars. Erica Girardi and her man, 20, 30 million. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that Kyle's husband actually defrauded the government. What was the amount? Okay. This is about to get messy. This is how you know I've been watching Bravo for too long. Portia Williams was dating a man, allegedly. He was not an African prince. He was an African dictator's son. This man went around the world and bought massive properties at the expense of the dictator's father, who stole the money from the country. I remember when Portia was walking around with a $100,000 Birkin and driving a $300,000 Bentley. That's where it came from. Mauricio, he bought a $50 million house that was actually shown one time on Bravo during Housewives of Beverly Hills on the last episode. The house was seized by the government, and the funds were supposed to be sent back to that government. I think it's like what, New Guinea or something. It might be some Ecuadorial, New Guinea. You guys can put in the comments. Mauricio told the government, I can sell this house for you. After the house didn't sell, Mauricio then said, I found a buyer for you. It's way less than you wanted. It was like a $50 million house that didn't need any work. Mauricio said it was going to need extensive work for it to sell. So the government said, sure, Mauricio, you're the best, real estate agent. They did it. Mauricio sold it to his partner and made 20 and quickly sold it. That's the kind of fraud that most of these people have. They think big. Wendy and Eddie over here doing it for Gucci. That's stupid.
Ooh! Ah, the ghetto! The ghetto. The ghetto.
This is stupid, y'all. This is not big money. This, for what? Another BBL? Maybe a Birkin bag? You can rent that. You are trying to keep up with the Joneses when everybody else on your franchise is broke and alone and desperate. You do not have to do anything. You don't even have to be really just glamorous or fabulous, or whatever the hell you want to say to be on Potomac. You can do whatever you want. This was the star of the show season 1. It don't take much. It don't. It just is what it is. Anyway, let's continue. The state requests bail for $50,000.
Okay, so for all you real.
Okay. Y'all. Everybody got something to say. Wendy is no longer going to be doing wife swap. They pulled her episode already. Nobody wants to see somebody else in Wendy's house. Nobody wants Wendy to go to their house and steal. That's really what it is. You know that house that Wendy was at, they checking everything. They checking the clothes, the shoes, the silverware. You a thief. You a thief. Oh, Shar, yeah, YouTube goes through its ebbs and flows. Thank you so much for continuing to look for me. I appreciate that. Let me see. No, this was interesting.
The only ones who is like, I'm so proud. What she said was, God has you covered, right? So this is. I need a second because
I get it.
I opened my phone. I had no idea it was even going on, and I'm like, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How you gonna be shocked? The woman was taking meetings with Peter Thomas to open a restaurant. That right there is red flag number 1 that you're a scammer.
Oh. Very, very shocked because I felt Miss 4 Degrees had it together. Okay, I thought she had it together. I mean, isn't Eddie an attorney? For heaven's sakes, like what the? I literally, she just messaged me a couple days ago. She's one of the only ones who is like, I'm so proud. What she said was, God has you covered, right? So this is. I need a second because
I get it.
I opened my phone. I had no idea it was even going on, and I'm like, I'm shocked.
Yeah,
that's right. She's one of the few people from the show who still messages your lying ass, and you are on here gloating. What exactly do you have to gloat about? You stole somebody's husband, married him, popped out 2 kids, and then once his bipolar started acting up, and he lost his money, you left him, only to go with a man who prefers trans women. Do you feel like you're the prize? Do you feel, Mia, like you are the prize? A retired, non-featured former stripper. You weren't the main girl on the stage. You literally just said that woman is the only one that reaches out to you, gives you words of encouragement, tells you God got you because you're not a boss, you did not have a job, you don't have a career, and you're relying on Bobby Valentino, who has not had a career since 2008, 2009, but does use the little money he does have to pay trans escorts. You gonna get up here, filtered down, and try to talk about Wendy when you just said that this woman is the only one sending you words of encouragement. Wendy should interview Bobby Valentino's alleged trans sex worker. She does interviews, y'all. But you got the prize. You got the prize. They had Candace out here looking crazy.
It feels to me, we've just, gone through the Karen Huger of it all. Mm-hmm. Karen just came home. Karen paid her debt to society, but one might opine that, perhaps.
I love that this woman is like an orator in any given situation.
Karen was made an example of. And
Karen had multiple chances to get it together and go into treatment. She put people's lives in danger 3 different times. That's not an example.
Now, as I'm literally just getting this news with you all, that's my first thought is $300 and we're arresting a mother and a father, business owners.
This is why you do what I do and reserve judgment. You look at the charges, you reserve judgment. This
entrepreneurs, we don't know what the charges are for, but we know that the Yosefos have a very successful marijuana business.
They're in debt.
They are providing jobs and opportunities for people.
I need a friend like Candace. Candace went on there. Candace did not give a damn. Candace said, I got their back because I know this can't be true because look, this is Black excellence. This is the Nigerian American dream, a doctor and a lawyer on reality TV. I think like 3 children. They're in a marriage. They ain't going nowhere. Candace said, I'm going to hold them down. And you look crazy.
Of color in the area, in the DMV. And so my first thought is, are they being targeted? Is this something that we should be thinking about? And I obviously I know the Yosefos. I know their children. I know her family.
Right.
And I'm heartbroken. Like I'm shaking because we're just finding this. I can't imagine. When was the last time you spoke with Dr.
Technically, it's a really good answer because that's her friend. Had it been Giselle, she would have been on the ground.
Wendy. Very recently, like we text all the time. So she never let on that anything was wrong. I know Eddie and Chris were just speaking via text. So I'm shocked. And it just feels like someone is out to get the girls. Mm. Like how are 2 women from the same show that features African-American women in the climate we're living in today, where people are being picked up and snatched off the street for.
Candace is good, but no, whatever. Let's move on to Happy Atty real quick. You guys, if you were one of the first people to really jump into the market, you might be doing pretty well. But I know so many people who opened up dispensaries, who had their own cannabis. Oh, crap. I don't know if I'm supposed to have this on the screen. Who have their own cannabis, and it has failed. There was so many people who opened up their own dispensaries. There's too much competition. There's too much competition. So when I hear that they're in debt, they're clearly trying to make some quick money, I'm very disappointed. I could have came in and went in this morning, but I didn't. I was like, I'm going to hold back judgment. I need to see the indictment. And now that I see the indictment, y'all look dumb. Love My Kid says, make it make sense. They live in a small town 2 hours outside the DMV. How can you rep Potomac? Did you see the live news? Police reported an entire investigation with their insurance company assisting. I did see that. I don't think it was worth a news conference. They did not murder anybody. They are public figures, but I still feel like you stole. And you didn't even do a good job of hiding it. That's what I feel is the most disrespectful part. You literally just said, I'm going to just say that these people stole stuff. I'm not going to look into anything like how to get away with insurance fraud. I'm disappointed because I expected more. I loved seeing a Black couple who had children. Marriage seemed strong. Both were degreed professionals. Didn't let people walk all over them. And now we see you're just some scammers. Chanel says, imagine being so educated to the point of stupidity. Stupid enough to leave a paper trail. Now you're embarrassed and we the public know you're broke. We knew she was broke when she was on Potomac. Love My Kid says, Mims, how can I send you the live police news commentary from the beginning to the arrest? Oh, you can send it to Make It Make Sense Now on Instagram. I appreciate it. Letitia James. So a lot of people don't know who she is. She was a New York AG who pressed charges against Trump. Let me see if I have it pulled up. Okay, so if I remember correctly, Letitia James was the one who stated that Trump was overstating the value of his properties in order to get loans to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Trump was found liable, him and his two sons. And initially, I think he was supposed to be paying back somewhere around $350 million with interest and everything that came out to $500 million. They appealed that. They still found that he was liable, but they said the amount was too much. So now they are currently in appeal again. She's appealed it and Trump has appealed it. So who knows what's about to go on there. But right now, she has been put on Trump's hit list for retribution. But look at the difference. The charges relate to James' 3-bedroom property in Norfolk, Virginia. Prosecutors allege she secured a mortgage claiming the property as her secondary residence while her primary residence was in Brooklyn, New York. Instead, she rented out the property to a family of 3, according to court documents. The prosecution alleges that James was required to occupy and use the property as her secondary residence, not as a rental investment property, in order to secure a favorable loan. Prosecutors allege she saved $18,000 through this misrepresentation. No one is above the law. That is hilarious. James has previously said she made an error while filling out paperwork for the property, which was then corrected. She has called the charges baseless. So we're going to watch what she had to say really quick.
This is nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system. He is forcing federal law enforcement agencies to do his bidding, all because I did my job as the New York State Attorney General. These charges are baseless, and the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost. The president's actions are a grave violation of our constitutional order and have drawn sharp criticism from members of both parties. His decision to fire a United States attorney who refuse to bring charges against me and replace them with someone who is blindly loyal not to the law, but to the president, is antithetical to the bedrock principles of our country. This is the time for leaders on both sides of the aisle to speak out against this blatant perversion of our.
Okay, so I saw a couple comments in there. Put it in the chat. What do you mean? It's Kira says Black people in New York are standing down, not riding for Letitia James. And somebody else said Big Tish had the big goal to become our governor. She went after Donald Trump. She targeted Trump first. Now Trump and his team are being reactive. Let me just say this. There are people out there who know how to work the system. If, she's found guilty of this, she's found guilty of this. I do take umbrage with a sitting president being able to tell an attorney general to target certain people. We haven't really seen that since Nixon. But let me just ask you this, because I never tell you guys who you should support and everything. Not my business who you support. Trump had to shut down his charities because he was misappropriating those funds. If you are breaking the law, is it truly that you're being targeted? Because by your own standard, you just said if you break the law, you need to pay for that. So if she broke the law, whatever this $18,000 she saved will be done. He really wanted her to do a perp walk. But let's take this back. We have defrauding loan and mortgage company to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars and then stealing from your own charities. Are we going to then say, well, that's okay? These were indictments that you were found guilty of by your own peers. These weren't just people. They can take you to court. They can take her to court. They might win against her. They may not. They might win against Comey. They might not. But if you aren't having that same type of conversation where you're saying, well, she can't get away with it, why would you then think that Trump could get away with it? If everybody's being investigated now, everybody's being investigated. That does not take away from the fact that his charities had to close because he misappropriated those funds for his own use. You claimed it was for charity, but it was really for you. You defrauded mortgage companies to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars. The reason that you have to claim the actual amount is because, let's say you borrow money, that's your collateral. They can seize those properties. If those properties really aren't worth that, then we have to pay that. When people defraud insurance agencies, we have to pay that. When people set forests on fire, we end up having to pay that. We, the other people who are paying for insurance. The money doesn't just come from nowhere. So the few people who look up like Wendy Osefo, who steal and get away with it, that $450,000, trust, it's pennies, then nickels, then dimes, then leaps. I know my insurance went up like, I think last year they were just like, you don't have no tickets, no accidents, no whatever, but your insurance went up $150 a month due to natural disasters, due to all these things. So it plays a role. I can sit here and say very squarely, from the sounds of this woman knew how to work the system and she saved $18,000 doing it. It looks like she's going to pay for it. But if you cannot say the same thing about Trump, then we're not really having a conversation. You're just choosing to take a side because you like somebody, no matter what they might do that's wrong. So I would say this much: if you're going to go after one of the most powerful people in the world, make sure that you don't got no skeletons. We'll see. This case may not have any merit. Then the grand jury might have chosen to go ahead and indict her. That does not mean that she will lose in court. Comey, the same thing. The difference is Trump lost in court because all of the facts were there. But anyway, it's been a long day. I almost got a car, and then I said, no, I'm not signing any paperwork. I got in the car and something felt wrong in the seat. And so I was like, something doesn't feel right in this car. And the dude was like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. Takes it in the back. There's something wrong with the mechanism in the seat. And I said, okay, what we're going to do about it? He said, you're going to take the car home? And I said, no, I'm not taking shit home until we figure out who's paying for this seat to get fixed. Came back, we'll fix the seat. Then the tire sensor is going off. And I'm like, I'm not taking this car. The tire sensor is off. What are we doing? He said, oh, no, you just need to put air in it. I said, oh, okay, go ahead and put air in it. Air didn't work. So it's either like a $300 sensor that needs to get replaced or a $3,000 module. If it's a $3,000 module, the car is staying there. If it's a $300 sensor, we'll meet in the middle. Anyway, I gotta go. I will see you guys later. Definitely doing a members only stream this weekend. I am still working on my Candace Owens video. So look out for that. Because now I'm tying in Steve Harvey, Candace Owens. It's a whole lot of stuff going on. So have a good night, y'all. Wendy says she's safe at home. I'm going to see y'all later.